What's up, kinfolk? Welcome to Adapt and Respond. Thank you for joining us here. We talk college football. We talk football year round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Do you want to see your head coach get fired? And if you do, how much are you willing to throw into the coffers? Well, how much do you think Ohio State and Texas are actually worth? And fall football weddings. Damn, that is a huge topic and a massive topic. And it's one of the reasons that I want to have Kate on for what is becoming her weekly appearance on A&R. Kate, how you doing?
Hello. How are you guys doing? Or how are you doing, I should say.
Us guys
You
are
guys, use
great.
guys.
We're doing great. The biggest game of the weekend, Kate, obviously, is number 3 Ohio State hosting number 1 Texas at the Shoe, that is Ohio Stadium in Columbus. And I found it interesting that as we're talking about two of the more popular, if not the two most popular programs in the sport to date, and two teams that played in the college football playoff semifinal, what are these programs worth, right? What is their value? Because in wide receiver Jeremiah Smith, you have what many people believe, myself included, is the best player in the sport. We talked about Arch Manning ad nauseum, and we will continue to. But my buddy, Michael Cohen, who covers the Big Ten for Fox, wrote a great story that came out on Thursday about how this game really is about college football supremacy, both for the SEC and the Big Ten, as well as Ohio State and Texas, two biggest conferences, two biggest teams. Texas is worth $1.89 billion, the football program, not the university, not the athletic program, the football program. And the Ohio State football program is worth $1.95 billion. What you think, Kate?
Well, that's an absurd amount of money.
If you're
So-
comparing it to other like professional franchises,
yeah.
it's not.
Well, but isn't it though?
If you're comparing it to the Dallas Cowboys, no. If you're comparing it to the
But
New York
this
Yankees,
is
no.
but this is college though,
You know,
right?
people say that. So when you say that, what do you mean?
Well, so I don't know. I tend to think of like the NFL as separated into like all of, just like these really rich dudes that have their really rich teams. And then they just, sort of like will funnel money to them, or they'll get their friends to funnel money to them. And I don't know. I just feel like the college teams are more like they have like a board of people who's like, okay, who can we, out of our roster can we get to, you know, borrow like $25 million. So maybe that's just me thinking incorrectly about the whole thing. So like
What? Wait,
I
why would you need to borrow $25 million?
I mean, I don't know, maybe, your team sucks that year, and like, or maybe you go to a team that's most of their games were at home, and it was a really bad fall and winter, and so nobody came to the games. I
Okay. Hey, let me tell you what you're gonna absolutely.
This is where the audience is like, oh, Kate's so naive. She doesn't know what she's
No, it's
talking
more like
about at all.
Kate is a closet old man football fan. That's what she is. So Kate, the NFL
Mhm.
is a socialist economic system. The 32
Oh.
owners share the wealth. So they're going to reap what by the end of their deals with CBS, Fox, ABC, Disney, Amazon are going to reap $110 billion in revenue. Okay, 110. And they split that among themselves. There are things that they have in control where they can raise the value. And this Jerry Jones famously sued the NFL for the opportunity to do this, getting Nike to sponsor his team and I believe Pepsi to be the official sponsor of or soft drink, or I think Miller Lite to be the official beer, so they can continue to raise the value because he didn't want to borrow any money. He thought that there was value to be had there and that much of this is being undervalued. One of the ways in which we got to this is Rupert Murdoch comes in with Fox and he says, look, when I got here, I learned very quickly the NFL is what this country is about, and you're not a network without it. So he proposed a gargantuan number in the mid 90s to buy the rights to the NFC. which was at the time $1 billion in 1990s money. So knowing all of that and seeing that the NFL is approaching, I believe, $25 billion annually in revenue, I come back to you and say, $2 billion for the two of the best football programs in the country sounds like a bargain to me. Also in there, how shocked are you to find out that they don't actually need to borrow a damn thing in the NFL? If anything, they need to find other places to put the money. And with the collective bargaining agreement, they only got to pay out so much. So, the revenue share is the revenue share. And then you got 32 owners and their families that get to keep most of this.
So how does that work though? Because like, so you say 32 owners and their families. So how did
The family usually owns the team. Yeah.
yeah. So like how do they, you know, so do they just equally divide it out amongst all of them, like at the end of, the quarter or whatever? And so
More or
everyone
less.
makes the same amount of money?
Well,
Interesting.
no, they don't make the same
Well,
amount of money, but there is a bottom line that everybody gets.
okay. I get it more so now because I just this is me, like I said, just being a dummy about it.
The
Yeah,
NFL used to be a 501c3.
so you can have a team that loses every single year and you still get your minimum pay. Oh, okay. Okay. I got
Yeah,
it. I got
yeah.
it.
Half
I
the
got it.
Cleveland
I
Browns, how
got
they
it.
exist. The Cleveland
I'm on
Browns get to keep
board
the team.
now.
Or the idea that the Green Bay Packers get to stay in Green Bay. It is one of the great thefts in modern history because, major media market is where you want your NFL team to be. As a matter of fact, Associated Press, the AP, makes style for journalists. We all use it. You do not have to put a state name after an NBA team or an NFL team town. So Oklahoma City doesn't have to be Oklahoma City,
Thunder.
Okla. It can just be Oklahoma City because they have an NBA team. The same is true in the NFL. You get to say Jacksonville because there are 30 NBA teams and there are 32 NFL teams and there are 30 Major League Baseball teams. All of these pale in comparison to how much they're worth. Like even the Pittsburgh Pirates, who suck, who are awful, they get to make money. And it is one of the ways in which we look around and we go, wait a second, y'all suck. Why do you get to keep this team? Well, because the Major League Baseball owners and or NFL owners think it's a good thing. And by the way, they will push you out if they don't like you. Or they will just not say you can't buy the team because they have to unanimously vote to allow you to buy the team because there's a standard of decorum that they expect you to keep. I mean, I think owning a sports franchise is tantamount to being knighted in the United States. That's how important it is. That's how much everybody wants to do it. That's why you've seen so many athletes go in on what we consider minor sports like softball or soccer or Major League Lacrosse. If you can put it on television and it is a sport, you stand to make a killing given some time if you can sit on that investment. So that's how it works.
So then how do people inherit teams then? Like
they have progeny.
Well, obviously, but I mean,
you can hand the team down and do.
And
that's why I say and their families. Like the Rooneys own the Pittsburgh Steelers. That will probably always be true.
But
Jerry Jones made a point of saying, when I bought this team, my family's coming to work in it and with me. It's a family-run business. And when he passes, Stephen Jones, his son, will probably become the majority shareholder owner of the Dallas Cowboys, and his son or daughter. For instance, the Indianapolis Colts owner, Jim Irsay, well, he passed away in May. His 3 daughters run the team now. That's how it works.
But what if you get, I mean, there have to be cases where someone's child is just completely incapable of like managing the team.
Not yet.
Well, I'm sure that they can hire people to manage for them if they're terrible, but like, there's really been no case where somebody is just like the worst manager
the NFL has only
in
been
the
around for like
history of
100 years. So life expectancy, especially if you're rich and white. And can you pay for your children to be very well educated? Because they do that in Saudi Arabia. They send them over here. They go to school. They come back. They speak 3 languages. Everybody's fine. I think what you're trying to come up with is some version of Mary Fallon's kid, but that doesn't really exist in the NFL or in college for that matter, because a measure of competency is you're going to get figured out along the way. You're going to get figured out along the way. And if it ain't up to you, it will be up to someone else. And as is, usual with rich white men, they usually have more than one kid, and one of those kids turns out to be competent or better or worthy or what have you. But we got here by talking about Ohio State and Texas.
That's true, we did. Sorry about the derailing. That's just me not knowing now how it all goes down, I guess. It's funny, I just assumed that that's how, it's one. Well, so it's one of these. It's funny that you say that I sound like an old man, talking about it, because I'm like, well, the only osmosis I've got for people talking about this subject around me are just old men in Oklahoma, basically. So.
You're also
with osmosis, that is what I have.
I find it fascinating that we've got to a place in United States history where there aren't more people that casually know how the NFL works because it runs so much of their lives already. It's an invisible hand in the market that people seem to not pay much attention to, which I think we're going to get to in fall weddings. But I want to go from that because I think the outcome of Ohio State, Michigan is Ohio State, Texas. Well, Ohio State, Michigan too. Ohio State, Texas is going to be fascinating because if Ohio State wins, they're the underdog. I think they'll be the number one team come next week. Texas wins, it'll stay the same. But mostly the value of both of those teams is going to go up if they both play well. And they've got players on both sides that everybody likes, knows.
No matter who wins or loses, they're going to both just.
And many people would tell you the national championship is not going to be decided on Saturday. And they would still expect the loser of that team to make it to the college football playoff, which is 12 teams. And your school gets $4 million just for making the college football playoff in most cases. I find that to be really fascinating when we talk about player bonuses, which don't really exist right now as a part of the major structure. But any sport where you can split up $20.5 million of revenue that your school is going to get with players is doing pretty well. Mm-hmm. But you might need to keep a lot of that for, the buyout to come. Because one of the things that we can also bank on is the injury rate in football is undefeated. We will be playing football on television, and high-profile coaches will get fired. It's about how they get fired and how much it's going to cost. So one of my favorite things about looking at a coach's contract is seeing how much it's going to cost to get rid of him if we decide we don't like him. There usually is some standard of decency clause that must be met where you do something that is unbecoming to the university or for the program. We can fire you with cause. And there are programs that have tried it and done it. So Tennessee, for instance, with Jeremy Pruitt years ago, that this is a scandal that ends with this punchline. Before name, image, and likeness was the law of the land, someone at Tennessee, maybe Jeremy Pruitt, maybe Jeremy Pruitt's staff, were paying potential recruits with cash that was stuffed into McDonald's bags.
That's some drug dealer.
Yes, the bag man. The bag man is very legal. That is what we call the bag man. He carries the bag.
I almost said the other word. That's some drug dealer stuff.
Well, and it's one of my favorite segments that we'll get to do later this year. It's called Money in the Bag. It's when you pay a team to play you that you're probably going to beat the crap out of, but then they beat you. So they get to tell you, put the money in the bag because now I'm robbing you. I'm robbing you of the win, and I'm taking your money. Northern Illinois did this to Notre Dame last year. I believe they got paid something like $2 million to go into Notre Dame and then beat Notre Dame. Anytime you get beat by a directional school and you are in Notre Dame, it's a bad look. And that team was not good. And it feels like an outlier because that team still made the national championship game. But I wanted to talk about these buyouts because they're important. So let's start with
just a quick question before we go.